Years go by. Life continues to bloom and grow. Chances arise alongside challenges that make every day an exciting prospect. Aiming for a strong economic landscape, we bring possibilities closer as we aid you through your journey. Delivering the mandate of nurturing and developing the SME. This unprecedented goal will be achieved by realigning our vision to be the leader in SME ecosystem value creation beyond financial services through technology and innovation, and supported by our renewed mission to be the center of excellence for talent and SME development towards greater nation building. Accomplishing this game-changing initiative will be made possible through adoption of our new core value, SMILE. S. Strong teamwork and integrity. With a strong team that is dedicated to serve and deliver the needs of customers, making them the cornerstone of success. M. Managing stakeholders. We take pride in the ability to manage our stakeholders professionally as we live up to meet all expectations. I. Innovation via technology. As we advance, with breakthrough technologies come groundbreaking solutions, striving to keep ourselves up to date with ever-changing flow of technology for the best outcome. L. Leadership and growth. Harness the spirit to transform by cultivating leaders and entrepreneurs. We encourage empowering skills and competency through continuous learning and development. E. Efficiency and productivity. We believe work efficiency comes from healthy working environments to gain higher productivity. As we continuously spread our wings, we reach out through international engagements, seeking bigger opportunities, enhancing credit knowledge, and growing to be the most preferred development financial partner. The continuous evolution in executing our offerings has contributed to higher productivity and innovation. SMILE, SME Bank's driving force of excellence, uniting us all to propel forward for a better tomorrow.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed our lives drastically in many ways. Very much so in operating a business. With SME Bank's SME Technology Transformation Fund, STTF, we actively support entrepreneurs' adoption of automation and digitalization for their business growth. Take your business to the next level with financing of up to 3 million ringgit. For more information, visit smebank.com.my.
Virtual Advisory Clinic, VAC, for MEPN. Are you facing difficulties in operating your business due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic? Are you worried about the future of your company? And you are not sure where to refer for advice? Well, the Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus, MEPN, is ready to facilitate you in providing guidance. MEPN was set up to improve the productivity of firms, sector, and the country. The solutions came from industry and the private and public partnership of MEPN. We invite you to join the MPC Virtual Advisory Clinic for machinery and equipment. Experienced industry advisors will be there to guide you. Contact us and we will see you virtually using online meeting for 1 hour. And together, we will work with you to find solutions to your challenges. Do contact MPC Advisory Clinic for machinery and equipment, MEPN, at mpc.gov.my.
Well, QFAM is a manufacturer of industrial pumps. We specialize in end suction centrifugal pumps. Firstly, maybe a lack of visibility and traceability on the production floor, the production process. Secondly, basically, in traditional manufacturing kind of a process, there's certain lack of real-time data collection. And thirdly, like communication and reporting issues, because manual reporting, like I described, is lengthy process, and there's of course also prone to human error. We felt there must be a solution, and of course we knew such things exist in the market that can actually solve all this and help us to do better analysis to improve our efficiencies and better decision making as a result.
The Simco shop floor monitoring system in the CNC machining plant, involving 21 machines in our CNC shop floor. The software provides real-time monitoring on the production. It gives visibility for supervision for working remotely, especially when we are forced to work from home. And the management team is able to accurately view and compare the operator's performance and the machine's utilization on a real-time basis. So previously, before the implementation of this system, we are not able to obtain accurate timestamps of machines' daily detailed operations, and it was based only on general manual records of the operators. But now, after the implementation, the timestamps come directly from the machines in digital form and are stored in a database for further analysis, of which the software is able to present via different types of reports. With visibility to the job and machine status, we are able to monitor the capacity planning in existing plants, and machines parameters can be analyzed to optimize and reduce the machining time per unit.
With continuous advances in technology, Industry 4.0 will become, I think Industry 4.0 will help advance manufacturing towards like higher production efficiencies and output, lower costs, better quality, and ultimately global competitiveness. We believe that going forward, this is not really a question of choice, but it's really a matter of survival that we move towards Industry 4.0 as much as possible. Well, we found IME's team to be professional, knowledgeable, and at the same time practical.
Hello. How's everybody doing today? This awesome day, everybody. If you can hear me loud and clear, just give me a hello, give me a hi in the chat box, everybody. If you're ready to rock and roll, let me know if you're ready to rock and roll. Vimal, raise your hand. Hi, Ruiz. Hey, nice to see you. Okay, no Kyriel. Awesome. Hello, Vincent. HM Lee. Alrighty. Oh, by Sarah. Very good. So we're so excited to have you guys here today. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, because we are ready we're ready to address the conversations on digitalization. Yes, Muhammad Noor has got his spectacles on, so I'm excited because we're ready to learn. All right. So remember, today's session is all about really overcoming, asking the right questions so that we can overcome. And I love all the videos that we talked about just now. So if you take a look at our digital readiness, many of us have realized we've gone into the 2 years of being in the pandemic and now in the endemic, and we should be realizing how important digitalization is. Yeah. So, but if I can, we still experience a lot of SMEs that are concerned or worried or not even just yet investing in digitalizing, in automating, let alone the industry 4.0. So these are all very big, hairy, audacious words, but we're here to demystify that. So if I can, be ready for your questions for our panel today. So before I get into that, let me share my screen. Everybody, if you can see my screen, say yeah. All right, are we good? All right. If you can see my screen today, today's topic by MEPN, Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus, brings to you series number 1 for 2022, where we bring a powerful topic on improving profitability by adopting autonomous robots. So for some of us, we've not even got round with the software part. We're already talking about the physical part, the robots. Yeah. So if any of you have seen some of these robots, and it does seem a little bit daunting, how do I use robots in my shop floor, in my factory floor? Today we bring experts, and not only do we bring experts that are going to answer all your questions. Yeah, we'll do the Q&A at the end. We're also going to bring another panelist, Encik Azhar, who is from SME Bank. And this is one of the most hardcore development banks that have been very much involved in the digital transformation and funding SMEs to do this. So we're going to hear from him very, very shortly as well. All right. So everybody, welcome to today's webinar by the Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus, which is one of the nexuses, one of the pillars under Malaysia Productivity Corporation that has been doing a lot of hard work, ladies and gentlemen, improving the productivity ratios for each SME. Yeah. So if I can, let's jump right into today for the next hour and a half. My name is Marissa Ng. For many of you who have seen me on the webinars or have met me face to face, this is me. So just a very quick introduction. My name is Marissa, and I'm the chairman of Community Engagement and Development for Samantha Central. If I have any Samantha members in the house, can you make some noise? Let's noisy up this place. I'm also one of the virtual advisors for MEPN's Productivity Nexus, and professionally, my business, I'm the CEO and founder of the Spark Group Asia, and we're the leading leadership, executive, and business coaching company in the region. We've got teams in Malaysia, Vietnam, and Singapore. All right, so that's a little bit about myself. Let's run right in, because I think today's topic, we're all at the edge of our seats. All right, gang, we're all at the edge of our seats, because how many of you have seen this robot before? Have you seen this, gang? How many of you have been to Q Bistro in Taman Tun? If you've ever been there before, gang, yep, you've ever been there before. Q Bistro in Taman Tun has, thank you. Never been there, Regina, thank you. Please go there and you will be served by robots. Right now, it's pretty nice. If I can, it's nice to be served by robots. Your food gets brought to you. The only thing they can't do is they can't clean the tables, but it's so cool. They have very good coffee. Thank you. Yeah, they have the best roti canai, so go there. But aside from that, Sunway Medical Center has also started using Bella bots. These are called Bella bots. They come at about 40 to 50,000 a piece, but a lot of businesses are starting to use robots. Now, if I can, ladies and gentlemen, you will also take a look at another photo at the bottom here. This is a robotics, yeah? And you will see that these are the industrial grades that I believe our speakers later, Mr. Yu is going to share so much with you, because at not just a retail level where we're starting to see the use of robots, in the industrial settings, these are also starting to be important, because for the advent and the changes that we've started to see with minimum wage increasing from 1,002 to 1,005, it has shocked a few SMEs. But if I can, the necessary increases are necessary, ladies and gentlemen, because, well, the cost of living is going up and it should be revised. And if I can, this increase progressively requires us as SMEs to raise our bar, to raise our game in productivity. And today we do have to talk a lot about why SMEs and businesses are still held back with automation, with digitalization, with robotics. And if I can, some of the things that people are so concerned with is if I take on robots on my shop floor, it will mean that certain positions in my company become dispensable. I can get rid of people. The answer is no. The answer is a lot of people think that, oh, you know, I can do away, I can be less dependent, but no. The crucial fact here is as you replace your shop floor with robots, your people get to focus on higher dollar value activities. And this will require talent development, upskilling and reskilling. It does require us to go to the next level of growth for where the humans, where the people can apply their best value in the value creation of any given business. Does that make sense? So this is very, very powerful. Today, we're going to talk a lot about this. So if I can, without further ado, just let me get into a little bit of the agenda here. So we have an amazing session today. So starting with myself, that's right now, we're going to go into the first session, inviting Mr. Yu Kian Singh from Technical Business Consultancy TechSoft. He has done a lot of work. I really do hope that you have your questions ready so that he can dive into a lot more depth. This guy understands a lot of the macro, but we're so lucky to have him here with us today because he is somebody that off the tip of his lips, he can offer so much of insight. I really do hope that we don't miss this opportunity out. The second person that we have is, we're very lucky to have one of the most experienced bankers, Injek Hassan, in the house from SME Bank. Him taking time aside, he's been traveling all over the country, all over the world to look at a lot of different technologies. They are one of the few banks that have done a lot of due diligence on technology that creates and transforms SMEs and businesses and organizations everywhere. So he has a team that does all of that kind of due diligence. So we're very lucky to have him here today. At the end, we will have our question and answer, or Q&A. So for those of you who will ask questions, please, by all means, shoot away to both our panel so that you can walk away with answers and get started with your journey. And we'll conclude today at 4:50. All right, so take lots of notes, take lots and lots of notes, right? Today is all for you, okay? So without further ado, we know that sessions like these, bukan untuk kita. We have done so many of these insights and awareness. I know many of you are not new to the series that has been done by MPC, MEPN. So we've been hard at work, even Samantha, we've been hard at work with the education and the awareness. So the key thing here is to begin. Where are you at? And we want to get your feedback. Where are you at with the level of robot adoption in your organization? Are you considering it? Guys, just click on the screen right here and then you will see some answers coming up. Do you have a plan to adopt robot in the near future? Yeah. Or the second one, we are currently exploring. So exploring meaning you've looked at some robots, you've got some POs in, you're comparing, you're making the comparative, investigating, very good. Third one, some of you, we already identified areas that we want to implement robotics, very good. The fourth one, we already have a pilot project for with working with robots. Wow, that's fantastic. So any pilot is a beta. And then at the last one, some of you would have already fully implemented robotics in your manufacturing plant. All right, so give us your answers, gang. We'll give it a couple of minutes, couple of seconds. Regina wants to have a robot pet. Thank you, I just read that. Yeah, they're not as furry as the real thing. All right, keep it coming, gang. Keep it coming. We'll give it another 20 to 30 seconds. We're in the lead. Wow. Most people have no plan. Not yet. After today's webinar is going to be very different. Keep it coming, gang. Very good. Awesome. All right. Okay, pretty good, fantastic. Okay, so if we can just close the polls, looks like at a whopping 48%. Wow, I didn't expect this. This was amazing, guys. So those of you that are here, you're already exploring robot technology, so that is fantastic. So you do really have to peel in to what Mr. Yu is going to share with you and how to expand on that through Injek Azhan's sharing later. But many of us at a second majority is we have no plan to adopt any robot in the near future. Let's see why, and what are we going to lose out on if we don't adopt robot, right? Some of us have already identified areas, kudos for you, that's 16%, and some have 6% implemented a pilot project. Wow, well done for you, well done, love it. Fantastic. Okay, so if I can, let's rock and roll. If we can share these polls. I'm not sure, guys, can you see the polls on my screen? Can you see it? Yeah, if you can, otherwise I'm going to move on. So today's topic I'm so excited because I really enjoyed Mr. Yu's short sharing. We're going to bring on board Mr. Yu Ken Singh, who is going to talk to us about adopting autonomous robot in the manufacturing industry. Now, I know I showed you a retail picture just now of the Bella bot. That's in retail. That's really at the consumer level. But I bring that because then we can imagine that robotics is actually very, very important for us to take over some of the routine work. And Mr. Yu is going to talk a lot about that. So let me bring him on and let me introduce him first. Mr. Yu is a technical business consultant. He is a professional technologist by Malaysian Board of Technologists, MBOT. He is also a certified Industry 4.0 professional holder by IIEC, which is the International Institute for Energy Conservation. Wow, this is the kind of guy that you want on board, who is going to help you to utilize energy more efficiently in your shop floor, in your organization. And he has more than 20 years, 2 decades of experience in the manufacturing industry. So if I can, everybody, can you help me warmly welcome Mr. Yu? Hi, Mr. Yu.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
I hope you can hear me. Thank you, Ms. Marisa,
Lovely.
for the warm welcome. Very inspiring talks, and I cannot wait furthermore to come and to start today's sessions. And again, thank you. Very good to come back with MPC and MEPN to come up with the new topics, sharing new ideas, sharing new insight. I can't wait for more. So without further ado, let's start today's topic today. How can we adopt autonomous robot in the manufacturing industry? All right. So before we start, just now I think Ms. Marisa shared about Bella bot. Yes, very interesting, right? Bella bot. So we've been seeing that this type of robot started to get how to say attentions, and a lot of restaurants started to implement it. But how about manufacturing? So, but manufacturing, we can see why we don't taking the same initiative as restaurant. More robot in restaurant, but how about MNC? How about SME? How about manufacturing industry? We can see it's still stagnant, especially in Malaysia. So today, just now, I saw the poll. It's very good, very nice that a lot started to explore. A lot started want to know more and want to explore. I think this is something good. So hope today's session, it will give a lot of insight for you. You want to learn. And then tell me if you have any question, please drop in the chat box so that we can answer. Hopefully I can answer most of the question. Okay, without further ado, let's start. Two keywords for today's presentation. Okay, the first keyword is to improve profitability. Okay, we run business. Definitely, we want to have profit. Without profit, why we want to run business? Simple as that. Second point I want to address is to adopt autonomous robot. All right, profit and robot. One is money, another is technical. Two different things. So let's see how can we gel these two things together today. All right. So what is profit? Definitely, profit is very simple. We know that revenue, which is the sales, and then we minus the cost that we incurred. So of course, today I'm not going to talk about how to increase your revenue. I don't know. I'm not going to do any sales talk. But what I'm going to do today is to address how can we reduce the cost. All right. So we know there's a lot of cost. Just as Ms. Marisa mentioned about the wage. Yep, from 1,002 to 1,005. There is something that will increase your cost. So how can we address this? So of course, there are many ways we can reduce the cost for manufacturing. We can reduce the cost from your supplier. You can squeeze your vendor, ask them to bring the cost down, get 3 quotations, find the cheapest one with a good quality. That is one way, right? Yep, you can do that, no doubt. But of course, today we are concentrating at 3 different areas, which is actually on labor performance. All right, how can we optimize the labor performance, improve their efficiency? Number 2, we want to learn about process optimization. How can we optimize our processes? All right, that's number 2. And number 3, to go and to learn, to adopt automations, especially autonomous robot. So 3 things that I'm going to cover because I cannot cover too many things. So let's pick 3 things related to the cost today. Yep, this is a recent announcement by our beloved Prime Minister. 1,005 started 1st of May. A lot of SME definitely will have a say that no, I'm not going to accept it, but government will implement it soon. Can we stop it to happen? I don't think that we can stop. It will happen sooner or later. Yes, maybe it can delay a bit, but it will increase due to inflations, due to goods, a lot of goods increase in prices. So we can't stop. But when this thing happens, just now we talk about how can we reduce the cost. But end up now we see the cost increase instead of cost reductions. So what we're going to do? Shall we just sit down and wait? What we need to do? If you wait, mean you have increase of cost. If your sales is still the same, still stagnant, mean your profit will be lower. So this is not a healthy, right? Not too healthy for business owners, especially top management. So how can we address this? So this is today's session that I hope I can help you to address some of the cost issue and to find a way how can we minimize the cost. The trend you can see in 2014 to today, 2022, from 900, 1,000, 1,010, 1,002, suddenly all the way to 1,500. That is 25% increase. So we can't stop this from increasing, and it will keep on increasing. So this is something that we can't control now. So we need to really find a way, how can we leverage the cost again to be competitive? If we are not competitive, other countries competitive than us, means that Malaysia manufacturing industry will be in the threat. Okay, exporting our good maybe not will be feasible as previous because our good will not be cheaper as before. So that is something that will threaten the manufacturing industry in Malaysia, especially SME and mid-tier, where most are actually family owned. We are actually running by our own fund instead of investors. So those are things that really critical at the moment. So again, you see the trend. What does this mean by increasing of 1,005? First of all, 25% increase if you have actually a low salary worker. That's the first thing that it will happen to your manufacturing. Second things, as you know, when this minimum wage increase, right, everything will increase normal. Your teh tarik, your roti canai, everything will increase. Even though it will not affect them, they will increase the price. Last time, 1 teh tarik, how much? But today, 2 ringgit 50 cents. You go a bit nicer restaurant, it can go to 3 to 4 ringgit. So that will be a normal things that will happen. Raw material, all right? You want to run your productions, but how about your raw material? It will increase too. Electricity bill definitely will increase. So those things really is actually the cost that you will need to consume if your revenue is still stagnant. So think about it. How can we survive with all the things increased, but my revenue still the same? It's good, it's still the same. What some happen is actually some same having a downfall in their revenue. So that is actually very, very negative. Right. So this is something that we want to address today. And number three, labor shortage. Due to existing, as in the current government policy, foreign worker permits, we know that it's very difficult for us to apply. And then hirings, foreign worker be freezed by government. So this is another area that we need to address. 3D jobs, dirty, dangerous, difficult. A lot locals at the moment, they are not really willing to do it. They prefer to sit in the office. They're willing to become Grab drivers. They're willing to do different things instead of making their hands dirty in manufacturing plants. So if this type of, scenarios happens, what will happen? We're going to have labor shortage. And then this is why today we want to explore robotics, all right? To see how can a robot help us to fill in the gaps where a local which not willing to work in, or foreign worker, we can't find a worker, but production still need to run. So that's why we want to see which area that we can use technology to overcome these challenges. And as Ms. Michelle mentioned, we are not going to reduce manpower, all right? We're not going to kill the job, but we want to fill in the jobs that is empty because the local is not willing to take it. And we want to promote the locals to become more efficient, all right? Instead of doing daily dirty jobs, they will become one day become a supervisor to supervise the robot. You see, this is something that we want to promote to increase their value with the same salary schemes, and this is something it can increase the efficiency too. So this is what we want to do today. All right. Then of course, last but not least, we know that pandemics, okay, COVID, MCO, quarantine, we also losing a lot of man hours labor due to this. So this is where we need to address this too. All right. Then we see a lot of problems, a lot of things happening now. But can a robot help us? So today's topic, definitely we want to see how robot can help us to address all these issues. All right. What is autonomous robot? Basically, this is actually I pick up from our National Policy of Industrial 4.0, one of pillar called autonomous robot. So it shows, what is autonomous robots? It's actually machines or robot that it can transform toward their next generations. It's very smart. Previous robot like industrial is not as smart as autonomous because autonomous, it have a brain, right? It can think, it can learn, and it can adapt. So previous industrial robot, no, you just program it will work. But autonomous, it can adapt. It has visions, it has a brain behind it to analyze things. So that is, we call it autonomous. So this technology allows us to think, react autonomously without human to tell them what to do. So that's why I think a lot also questioning in the future, will robot become a hazard or a fight with humans because they are so smart and we can be smarter than human? We are not sure. Maybe yes, maybe no. But at the moment, I think it's still safe. It won't fight with us. Maybe in a movie, yes. But so far, it's still safe. So don't worry, you can adopt this robot. They won't harm you. So then, of course, it can also make do a remote decision making. Yeah, very smart. Not only just to take up the instruction, and it can do decision making. How smart is the robot nowadays? So this is something that we want to explore today. All right, so just now we talk about autonomous robot, compare industrial. So then we want to see in more detail what is collaborative and industrial robot. Industrial been there for some time, right? 20, 30 years ago, we have a lot of robots, which we call it industrial. So the difference between collaborative and industrial is actually collaborative, right? It can work hand to hand with human, meaning that you no need to cage it. Not like tigers, right? Not a lion that you need to kill it, it will eat you. No. Industrial, yes, because why? Industrial is actually very high speed, very fast, and then the payload is too high. It can actually giving a lot of risk. So that's why we need to catch it. But collaborative, no, you don't need to catch because it will stop if it hits some obstacle, or maybe meaning that when it hit you or it hit operators, it will stop by itself. So that's why with this, it can work together with human. So you can see in the photos, one guy just work together with a collaborative robot. Another one in the cage, in the Sanka, those are industrial robot, which is very fast, very high efficiency, but a bit dangerous when you need to catch it. So those are different things between industrial and collaborative. And then let's draw into more detail. When we should use industrial and when we should use collaborative. So if you want high speed, high production speed, right? Definitely you still need to go with industrial. The reason because collaborative, it have actually slower speed. And normally we use collaborative robot because it can have the same similar throughput as human, right? So let's say today this guy is doing this screwing. So I can just replace with collaborative robot. But if I want to improve my productivity higher than human rate, then I need to use industrial robot. So that is a big difference. And then of course payload. Industrial robot, it can go from minimum 6 until 100, 200 kg payload. But collaborative robot, no. Collaborative robot, basically we will start with 3, 6, 10, 12. That is actually the range, which is lower payload. Means that it cannot carry a lot of load. But where is the sweet spot? The sweet spot is to replace screwing. Later I will share more about where should we use collaborative and when we should use industrial. So that is because of the payload. So in today, if let's say you think that you want to replace, right? I want to replace one process. So you should think what is actually the payload that required to mount to the robot. Either it's grippers, cameras, screwdrivers, or buffing, everything. All right. So if let's say the weight is too heavy, definitely you need to use industrial robot, like bending on metal, those things definitely we will still need to use for industrial robot. But it's to replace humans, screwing, assembly, picking, polishing, then yes, collaborative is very nice because of the sweet spot is over there. And then you can see the robot, right? Collaborative robot is easier to program. You can teach, you can use programming, and then when you teach, you pull it and you teach, you record it, it can run. Whereas industrial, a bit difficult, okay? You need to program it, you need to have engineers who really work well, we need to program it, and again, another thing, because it's safe, right? It's already very dangerous. So that's why we don't want simply to program where it can hit humans. So this is somewhere collaborative is safer and easier to program. So another thing that you can see, the different tasks, right? If let's say you implement industrial robot, you need to mount it into the floor, into the base. It's not flexible. You cannot move it around. And today, the robot doing this, it must be doing that for maybe a few months or years before you can move it. But collaborative robot is so simple to be set up. You can move around and you can set up again and run it again. It's so flexible and it's very light. You can just carry because the weight is like 10 or less than that. So it's very easier to move around so that the flexibility is higher if we use collaborative robot. So there is another different things that we see. But of course, on accuracy wise, definitely industrial robot will be having higher accuracy, whereas a collaborative robot is not that bad, but slightly lower. Again, just now we talk about changes of existing production plant, right? So let's say you want to implement industrial robot, you need to have fencings, light curtains, safety curtains. You need to have a base, fully secure it so that it can work. That's why you need to really change a lot of your existing production floor. A foundation need to be there, cage it up. But robot, no. So that is a bit different. When you say no, right, mean lesser cost. So that is the sweet spot about collaborative robot. And when you less cage, right, mean I can deploy my robot anywhere. Okay, industrial, no, you need to have space dedicated, you need to have a fence, and you need to make sure people is not able to go in when it runs, it operates. Though this is actually some things that you need to consider. If you want to put a robot in your assembly line to work together with human, let's say there's one guy doing assembly soldering, you want a robot to pick and place, definitely you still need to go with collaborative robot because it have a safety function and you don't need to have a cage. So that is actually how we choose a correct robot when we want to analyze. Okay, how to reduce on the main labor, how to reduce on the manual, a manual process to automation. All right, so a few points over there. You can see a low initial cost. All right, definitely cobalt, as I mentioned, because less fencing, less light curtain, simple base foundation. Definitely, the cost of implementation will be lesser with collaborative robot. Later, I will share more on this. Then again, last two, both is the same, right? It still can be run with few or even no employee, no issue for both. And then automation process won't change over time. Yep, mean that both also can fulfill. All right, just now about the robot. Since today we talk about autonomous robot, I also want to cover another few robots that we have. Another one, we call it AGV on AMR. So what is the difference? AGV is automated guided vehicle. So we use it to carry the goods from one point to a point. And then this AGV will be guided. You can see this on the floor. There is actually a magnetic tape that it will follow the tape and it will stop when it reaches the point. So it doesn't really have a smart brain in the AGV because it just follow the tapes and it will go, it will stop. So then you can push a button, it will go again. But whereas autonomous mobile robot, example just now, like BellaBot. So BellaBot, there are few types of robots, right? So in those that using LiDAR, lasers, they are actually readings and they have visions and they have a smart processing brain behind it. So when there is actually obstacle in front, it will divert and find another route. AGV, no. When there is an obstacle, it will stop until you remove the obstacle, it will only go. So that is a different. One require wire, one doesn't require. And then it will stop. And then another one will move. Okay, it will just move to avoid the obstacle instead of just stop. So that is one with the brain, another one is just to follow. So that is the difference between AGV and AMR. So then, of course, travel is only dedicated. Very simple. I always call AGV as a train. All right. So train meaning you need to follow the tracks. You cannot go off tracks. Whereas AMR is like a taxi or like a car. You can just maneuver whenever there is obstacle, it's a roadblocks, you can just U-turn, go to another way. So that is actually different between both. But both can do the wonders, can do the work. All right, because as long you really need to know whether I should use AGV or I should use AMR by looking at your workflow, by looking at the space, and by looking at how difficult, okay, the point from A to B is just a straight point, and then there's no traffic controls or very heavy blockage that always interferes with the movement. AGV is quite okay. I think AGV been there for 10 years, quite some time. But the new technology, which is using autonomous mobile robot, which is had a frame behind, we can see that adoption suddenly picking up. All right, especially in the restaurant now. In manufacturing, MNC use it a lot, but too bad in Malaysia we don't see much, especially SME. So this is why hopefully we will embrace, we will embark, we will try to adopt so that it can help us to be more competitive. All right, so a lot of introductions just now. Hope you can catch up with me. Another thing I want to share is the trend. Yes, the trend. So this is actually a trend from since 2016 till today, 2022, and they also project right to 2030. All right, so you can see the green color industrial robot is a bit stagnant. Okay, past 6 years a bit stagnant, but mobile robot increasing. All right, the blue color light blue is increasing. So you can see a lot of restaurants start to adopt it. AMR, Alibaba warehouse, Taobao warehouse, even Mr. DIY, yes, they adopt AMR. So very interesting. You can see their videos, right? How they use AMR to move their racks, pallets. Very nice project. So that's why you can see adoption is increased for mobile robot. And then collaborative, we can see it start picking up too. Not much. Yep, it's still new, not much, but sooner in 10 years or 15 years, we can see that they will be increased, all right? They will be increased due to the sweet spot that I mentioned just now. But of course, if you're looking for the high speed and higher payload, definitely not a cobot. But it's just to replace 3D jobs. I think it's good enough to use collaborative robot. So that is how we're going to identify which area, which robot we will use and which one we should use. Okay, so we can see the difference just now and why we should adopt robot. Okay, I just pick up a few points just now that I addressed. Salary increment. So you have operators that you need to increase yearly salary minimum 5, maybe to 10. If perform better, maybe 10 to 15. So this is actually a trend or a must to increase the salary. Okay, if you don't increase, they find another job. Then you need to rehire troublesome. That's why you need to increase. So that is the first thing that you need to also consider. Second thing, very hard for us to apply foreign labor permit now. So this is something that we highlight just now. 3D job, right? A lot of locals, I think they prefer to choose a job in office, easy job, Grab drivers instead of doing dirty job, dangerous job. So this is something that we need to address also. And recent pandemic, of course, it caused us a lot of issue, okay, and impact a lot to SME. A lot of my customers mentioned that we need to close the operations, we need to run with 50%, and suddenly my staff, transmitted to the whole operators. Then I need to stop for 7 days. Imagine what is the loss. So this is something that suddenly it already affect SME mid-tier company last two years. Leave, definitely, yep, human have leave, overtime, error, mood, yesterday fight with the husband or wife, today come all reject, right? So all these things have, because human, we have emotions. So efficiency, consistent, sometimes it's not consistent. So those are things that always happen. This is always, it's quite normal in manufacturing. But if let's say we have a robot, definitely we have a fit differentiation that we already can estimate. That's the first things. No special permit, all right? You can just buy and install as long as you can follow the regulations. No issue on that. Yep, as long as you program, it can work as per you assign or program. So that is something that is good about this robot, right? Tak ada pilih job or cherry picking lah. So this is something that actually can improve your efficiency and productivity. Quarantine, no effects, no sick leave, no overtime, no OT, no error. As long as you program betul, dia betul lah. But it's actually program wrongly, you will carry out wrong task. So that's different story. And consistency. So that is something that we want to make sure that production is more efficient, so that no reject, lesser rework, profit will increase. So those are related to the cost that we mentioned just now. So at the end, still you can see that some areas, robot is a winner. So when the robot is winner, why we are still here? Why we are still using low labor? Why we still using foreign labor? Right? So if we have a problem, now we have a problem with the foreign labor for permit. But why don't we explore to see how robot help us to solve the issue that I addressed just now? Okay, so let's learn about the density. Where are we today? You can see adoption of robot, right? Definitely South Korea is always there, highest, and it follow with Singapore. Singapore is the second country that have highest density of robot. How many? 1,000 employees, right? They have 488 robots, and this is not the latest data. Latest one may be higher than that. That's why they are more efficient. They have actually higher labor. Okay, salary is too high in Singapore, but they can compete with the world. Why? Because they are lower manufacturing costs by adopting robot. So in Malaysia, we are actually fortunate because the salary is not that high, easy to find a foreign labor, then we don't really explore robot. But others country, no choice. Like in Germany, all right, so expensive to hire laborers. So that's why they implement a robot. So due to that, you can see that Malaysia is still far, all right? In 10,000, we only have 34 robots being deployed. So that is a bit still very, very low. So, right, so that is where we are now. So hopefully that we will be improved. So we are actually behind Thailand. So a bit sad about that. So hopefully after today's session, we try to improve and we'll be better, we'll adopt more. All right. After my sharing, right? Wow, it sounds good lah. Ini mesti macam boleh lah. Ini kali lah boleh. But then, why and why? Still, the adoption still low in Malaysia. So I have few items that I want to address over here. This is from the engagement, from my experience. I think still the expenditure. Number one, because too expensive. Why is too expensive? Okay, imagine, right? I do a comparison, very short comparison. A robot, this is industrial robot, okay? Let's say 3 years ago. Industrial robot, it costs 250K. Just let's take an example, 250K. So that is actually a cost of robot in Europe, maybe Germany. In Malaysia, maybe it costs 230K or maybe same, because robot cost in all worldwide is almost similar. But your salary in Europe, one operator maybe costs 100,000 RM, okay, ringgit Malaysia per year. But in Malaysia, it costs around 25. That's why the payback in Malaysia is too long. By looking at this, definitely is no goal. Why I want to invest 9 years payback ROI, definitely I would say robot is a no-go. That's why with this mindset, that's why a lot of SME and media, they are hold their bullets. No, I'm not going to invest. How can I invest because I don't see a payback? So that is number one, high expenditure. Number two, a lot of robot maybe 200K, but when you add up fencings, you add up the base, you add up the light curtain, you add up the grippers, everything, it go up to 400. No, this is actually something that sometimes they thought that is, yeah, I think I'm okay with this cost. But when you get a quotation, or they already, some even worse, they issue the PO, but the end project go up 50% or 100% higher. They shock. So with the first project, they already shocked. How you want them to continue second and the next project? So this has happened before because they thought that it's just a robot. But no, we have so many things that you still need to consider. Not just a robot. You need to consider the rest of the things. So that is number two. Number three, a lot SME still at Industrial 2.0. So this is actually what we found out. Automation adoption is still low, and then they are comfortable. As I mentioned, why I want to invest 200K when I can just hire, okay, foreign worker. Okay, today I just pay salary 3,000 or per month. Very simple, 3,000. Why I want to invest 2,000? So that is some sort of mindset, old mindset that actually, prevents or actually stop as a blockage for them to explore further. Okay, slow in mindset shift, wait and see. Never mind, you all go in first, go and implement first. I want to see what is successful, then I will do, I will continue. I don't want to be the white elephant. So this is the mindset that happens because they worry, they fear about this new technology. They never do it before. And then of course, it's cheap, it's okay. But the cost 200K for me to try, no way, I better take this 200K in my market. So this is something that we want to address. How can we address these challenges now? Okay, low expertise, they don't have a team to handle robots, lack of experience, confidence because of those old, stories they heard from others, friends, colleagues, or competitors or manufacturers that they failed in a robot project. So that is actually something that we need to address too. All right, and of course, we see also a lot of robot, right? Actually from Europe. So we need to hire their team all the way from Europe. But now I think local team, Malaysian team is quite okay, quite good. So with this, I think the cost definitely will be lower because we are not depending on overseas expert. So that is another point. Fear of facial refusal. Yep, as I mentioned just now, they worried that this project will be failed project. And the last one, some SME, sorry to say, they think that they need government support and they think that government should help them. Okay, you want us to go for Industrial 4.0, you must give us a grant. Without grant, I will not go. So this is some will have this type of mindset. But to be frank, yeah, government assistance is good, but we cannot depending always on government. We need to find a way how to really increase your profit by reducing the cost. If you just sit and wait, definitely you will have some issue in running your business soon. Okay, lack of local support, I mentioned just now, that's another point that why it's still low in Malaysia. So if we can address this, right, hopefully later part, I will share a few points, how I'm going to address those challenges. All right, recap, right? I'll recap what I shared just now, 4 areas. The first one, just now we see 9 years ROI. Later part, I will share to you, how can we shorten this payback ROI? That's number 1. Number 2, I will share to you how can we reduce robot investment cost. So that's number 2. Number 3, I'm going to share to you how can you reduce the fear of implementing autonomous robot. And last but not least, some case study for you so that it will wrap up all my presentation today. Okay, so I have 4 points. Just hopefully you can stay and listen and to grab as much information. I know it's a lot, but try to grab as much as you can. Okay, let's go with number 1. All right, so number 1, just now we talked about 9 years or 8 years ROI. To calculate the return on investment, right? Actually, you cannot just use robot cost. You should need to add in still a lot of costs like creepers, fixtures, stands, vision sensors. Some you will use vision cameras, safety equipment like fencing, light curtains. Those are hardware that are required if you want to implement industrial robot. Definitely, you can see a robot is 200K, just example, but ended up, right, it will go to 242 or 250K because of accessories. And imagine if you not replacing, maybe no, we just want to place a robot for those 3D job where locals are not able to support. So if I previously this job run by one employee, so in a year, maybe 30K the cost. So you have 8 years payback. That is scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, if a same robot setup can replace 2 employees, you're going to have 4 years payback. So you can see it can shut short. So you need to really think, how can I design a robot to save 2 employees instead of 1? Definitely you have actually better opportunity to come with a shorter ROI. That's scenario number 2. Okay, now collaborative robot. You can see here, the cost definitely lower. Okay, from 2,200K, now the collaborative robot, it can go down to 125K. So you can see there's a slight difference. And the sweet spot about collaborative robot, you no need to have the fans. Okay, no need to have light curtain. The base is very simple. You save a lot of cost. Yeah, of course, you still need like creepers, you still need the rest, vision is unique, you need to have. But definitely will be more cost competitive. So if I can reduce 1, my return is 3.5. If I reduce 2, return is 2.6. Amazing. Just now we talk about 8. Well, no way, I close the door. But when I can see the return, the payback is 2.6, yeah, I think I can consider the door will open again. So you can see how I put it in different scenarios. And again, this is if the cobot is 125. Imagine if the collaborative robot price, right, dropped to 75K. Your return is only 1.8 years. Why? We still need to think. It's a goal. Anything 2 to 3 years is a goal for manufacturers, for manufacturing plant. So with this, now, yeah, it becomes competitive. It becomes feasible now. Previously, no. 8 years, 9 years, now 1.8 to 2. So I think this is how we need to go now. We need to move now. With the cost reduced a lot, and with the improvement, we see the light end of the tunnel for Malaysia. Okay, so with this, I think we can find the ROI, and it can help us to solve just now the 4 areas dimensions. So as a summary, definitely you can find a collaborative robot in the market. We have this price range. So it can reduce 2, and the price range is around 75, return will be around 2 years. So if higher, return will be 2.6 years. So this is a rule of thumb. So you can identify your areas, and then you can come back to us also. We can also share to you whether you can replace how many and how to be efficient. Then from there, how long is the payback? We have a calculation method to calculate the payback, or some called ROI. So that is a summary that how we're going to have a cost competitive project by adopting the collaborative robot. All right. Yep, as I mentioned, the difference between industrial and cobots, those are costs that involve. Okay, so for industrial, you need 3-phase power, you need fencing, guide, safety clearness, but collaborative, no, you can just remove all those things. That's why it will be much more cheaper to embark collaborative robot project instead of industrial. But if you need high speed, you need to carry high load, no way collaborative robot will work for you. So that will be a non-feasible project if you want to achieve 2 years ROI. So yeah, I did some comparison of the collaborative robot cost in the market, right? High-end European band, you have like 450K collaborative robots. Mid-range European, around 150. You can also source for Japanese brand, not a bad brand, around 150K. Or if you think that I want to try, okay, I want to try, and I don't want to spend a lot of things because I feel you can go with China brand first. It can start with 50 to 100K. And to tell you, China brand is not that it's not good, right? No, China brand is very stable now. And even MMC started to use China brand, and we delivered few units even to famous MMC, because in China this brand been matured. So in China they use a lot of quality product and by their own brand. Even car, right, like Geely, and it's quite okay. So I think China's quality product so far is actually quite okay for SME. But if you have a higher budget like SMC, definitely you can go for high end. But to start a pilot, I recommend you to start something low so that the fear is lesser. Then with this, your ROI definitely will be 1 to 2 or maximum 3 years. So that is how we calculate the payback. So, all right, then number 3, how to reduce robot investment. Okay, first, definitely you need to choose project which doesn't require visions. Okay, you need to pick up some things, a screw, definitely you need to add vision, definitely your ROI will be longer. So this is how normally we will guide. If you want to have a shortest one, try to avoid visions. Number 2, if you have a team to fabricate the jig, the base, you can also do in-house. Of course, we can guide you, no issue. So then just buy the robot, you can deploy. And if your team can able to handle the supports, the setup, this is how you reduce your whole project cost instead of depending on SI or overseas support engineers. Then, of course, the last but not least, important also to start the project, the first project with a good SI. All right. So, of course, local will be better than overseas because we have issues, they can directly support to you. So those are areas that I share. How can we reduce your overall project cost and also reduce the fear, not just the cost, but the fear of failing. Okay, number 1, okay, of course, over here I put it. First of all, I summarize it. First, you need to understand the whole project, not just a robot cost, but you need to understand what else you need. Accessories, any changes on your production floor. Okay, number 3, number D, right? Maintenance. A lot of people forget about maintenance. They just calculate robot, ROI is there, but how about maintenance? You need to think about yearly maintenance as your payback point also. So these are things that you need to consider. Okay, changes of layout, whether it's required or not, because it involves cost also, trainings, any free trainings or you engineering costs. Those are costs that you need to consider, not just robot. So that's the first thing that you need to know. Okay, by understanding this, your fear will reduce. You are more confident that, okay, I think this project is okay. I'm confident that it will be successful. Number 2, you need to justify definitely the success rate. Okay, not that I just buy, I just deploy, only I do risk assessment. No, you need to assess first. How confident? If you want to pick a screw, definitely very hard, so the success rate will be low. And you need to know accuracy of your picking or your pick and place. If the thing required high accuracies, then it have actually highest failure rate. This is something for the first project, I will suggest you to go with lower accuracy, maybe just pick and place, so that you get the feel first. Once you get the feel, you know what do and don'ts, then we only go with high accuracy, high speed, difficult project, reduce more tasks, but start with the win-win project, sure win project, start small. So that is another things that you need to do. So you need to analyze the return as usual so that you can convince your top management. Another thing is study past success rate. If you can see that already some guy or your competitors doing it, then yes, I think you can start to do it because they already address all the challenges. All right, so that is some points that I will share, how to reduce the fear. And number 3, explore more just than ROI. Okay, when of course a lot of top management, they say, I want to invest, I want to see ROI, that's the first thing. Of course, ROI is always good, but you need to see more things. Right? If let's say I can implement a cobot, but it can help to reduce the risk, safety issue, medical risk, or economic, like a sparing a paint shop, right? Then it's a hazard for your operators. Those are risks. So if let's say ROI is longer, it can address all these risks. It's still a goal, right? So sometimes not only ROI that we need to think. So this is the point that I'll put it as quite important. And of course, if let's say the job is a bit quite tedious, then a lot of turnover. But when you have turnover, your HR need to hire new people, new operators. So those are a lot of repeating hiring interview. But if you have robot, you can remove all these costs. Those are actually hidden costs that sometimes you never realize that you need to spend a lot of HR time doing that. Productivity and revenue gain, you need to address also not only just ROI. stability or the accuracy or the performance, because robot is quite accurate, no emotions, no moods, so it's actually quite stable. It can reduce the rework because humans sometimes it can do. So these are all things that you need to think, not only just think ROI. If you think in the overall big picture, right, your project will be much more feasible. I would put it that way. But of course, this is the saving, but it will come back to you a new problem because now you have new technology. Your team maybe they don't know how to operate it. That's why you are creating new problems too. But how to reduce the fear? First of all, you need to work with a very good team. Actually, your vendors, your supplier need to be very good, very well known. They have actually good case studies that they can support to you. By doing this, the only things that your project can be successful. If you buy directly a cobot from overseas and you try to implement yourself, that will be a very new problems that you will face because you start from nothing. I mean, from zero. So then suddenly you lost confidence. So and then the robot will be sleeping there. Nobody have knowledge to do it. So that is actually a no. Don't do it because that problem is not that easy. So what if somebody is got competence for your first project? Second thing, of course, you need to upgrade, okay, your workforce. Imagine previously you had operator. Don't retrain them. Upgrade your operator instead of every day do drilling. Today, your operator can handle 2 or 3 robots. You see, you pay operator salary, you get supervisor role. Good, right? Value for money. So this is something that we want to upgrade the workforce. And of course, last but not least, work with reliable partner. This is very important, especially on your first project. With this, hopefully, you can remove your fear on number 3. All right, number 4, it goes to the last part. Hope you are still there. Success story. You want to share success story. So I will put it into 2 different categories over there. You can see. Easy, as I mentioned, easy, pick and place from part to part. So those are areas that we can start first. Don't go with quality inspection, QC, revision. Those are actually very difficult. If you go with that on your first project, you feel you have no more I regret, I implement that. Don't go with that. Go with easier one, pick and place, packaging, palletizing, polishing. Those are areas that much more easy to achieve. Okay, some example, I think it's very good. Loading and unloading. Another video on loading and unloading. Palletizing. Packaging. Okay, you can see this is manual. Then we will improve using autonomous robot. Better filtration. And the last case study over here, nut tightening. And CNC machine pick and place. All right, so we come to the end of my presentations. Definitely, if you want to understand more, you can come back to us. Definitely, we have quite a number of range of autonomous robot. Below 50K, we do have AGV, we have delivery robot, we have one lowest, cheapest collaborative robot over there. 50 to 85, we have collaborative robots, we have industrial robot, AGV, and of course, more than 85, we do have welding robots and the rest, etc. So you think that you have really a project that you want to embark, you can talk to us and we can find the best product that suits your needs, and hopefully the fear is lesser by working with a good partners. Okay, with that, I will end your presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and then hopefully you really get a lot of information, a lot of insight out of the presentation that I share. So without further ado, I'll pass back my session to Miss Marisa. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Awesome. Everybody help me say thank you to Mr. Yu. I think the session had us all, at the edge of our seats. Thank you very much. Those of you who are interested, can you please take a look at my slide over here, guys? That was Mr. Yu. So everybody, if you enjoyed the session, I think many of us have questions, but we're going to take questions toward the end of today's session. Guys, please snapshot this screen and save Mr. Yu Kian Singh's email address and do reach out to him. I really appreciate Mr. Yu, your presentation gave us the good, bad, and the ugly. I know at the point of just reducing the ROIs from 8 years to 2 years, it was just mind-blowing, but you gave it so much of that practicality that for us as all business owners, and even that we're asking, these questions that we're asking. And if I can, I think many of us here are managers, and your presentation alone is going to be useful for us to bring up to their boards to convince them to invest in robotics. Yeah, so thank you. Wow, look at a slew of thank yous from everybody. Very appreciative for such insights. All right, thank you. So without further ado, we're going to bring on board the next speaker whom you really want to peel in and listen to. But before I do that, I want to offer a particular poll here. Okay, so guys, if you can see my screen, the next poll is, do you know what is mandated as a role for SME Bank? Most of us have heard of SME Bank. Some of us know very much and some know very little. So please, guys, before I bring on, drum roll, the next person. All right. So guys, go on in. All right. We may have heard of SME Bank, but we're not quite sure how they support the development of SMEs. Good stuff. All right. Keep it coming, gang. Another 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Brilliant. Okay, all right. So everybody, this is the poll. Many people have heard of SME Bank before, yeah, and if you must know, the developmental banks and commercial banks are very different. So if I can, and without further ado, let me welcome the next person. So guys, I really want to welcome one of the top bankers in the country. I really have to say we are so fortunate to have such amazing speakers here. So Encik Azhar is going to talk about the SME Bank Technology Transformation Financing Solutions. If I can, Encik Azhar has been a banker for 28 years. That's nearly 3 decades of financing and supporting the growth of businesses, 20 years in the commercial bank and 8 years in a development bank. Encik Azhar has been exposed to all levels of banking, from commercial banking to SME banking, to oil and gas industry, and many other industries. He has been so passionate about helping SMEs to move upward and forward in their business ventures. So I've learned a lot from Encik Azhar over the last couple of days, because it's not often we have forward-thinking bankers that are financing technology transformation solutions. So without further ado, let me pass the floor to Encik Azhar. Everybody, warmly welcome. Say hello to our next speaker. Woohoo!
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Marisa. Let me just share my slide. Okay, thank you, Marisa, for the introduction. 28 years, quite long time as a banker. In those 28 years, made a lot of businessmen become rich. And along the line, I also make some of them bankrupt. And you know why lah. Anyway, Let me just run through my slide. Let me just introduce. From the poll just now, only two of you that have heard of SME Bank. Most of you do not know what we are doing, but basically, yes, we are one of the DFI. We are 100% owned by by our MOF. And like any other bank, we are also regulated by the Bank Negara. We follow our Bank Negara rule and regulation like any other banks. So our existence has been, we have been around since 2005, and we have been helping, I think, I don't know, more than 100,000 of SMEs in terms of in elevating their ventures in whatever business that they are doing. So this slide shows who are our stakeholders. As I mentioned just now, we are owned by MOF. At the moment, we are governed by MOF, also Bank Negara. And at the moment, we are reporting to Ministry of Entrepreneur and Development Cooperative, which is now what we call changed to KUSKOP. The Malay is KUSKOP, Kementerian Pembangunan Usahawan and Koperasi. Last time we used to call the MEDEC. So, and if we use KUSKOP or MEDEC, is the same thing. So basically, being under the one of the government agents, we have the luxury of having a lot of other agencies under the other ministries as our partners. Strategically, we are working a lot with SME Corp, InScan, PNS, Teraju. We are also working with EPU, a lot of programs. So that's why. As a DFI, we are not only giving financing, we are also giving advice on what to do in certain areas of your undertaking. Of course, end of the day, it is the businessmen that have to take the lead. We as bankers just to follow through what you are going to do, then give you the support system where necessary. So let me just run through what are the general criteria of our financing. There are 6 listed here, but I want to take your attention to number 3 and number 4. For the last 2.5 years, most of us SMEs, not only SMEs, some of the big companies are also affected. So the financial status of SMEs has been what we call not really as per what they wanted. So sales have been down, profit has turned into red. Then some legal action creep up where you cannot pay the bank, where some of us have struggled to pay our suppliers. All these are the struggle that we as SMEs has been going through in the past 2 years, and we as SME Bank take note of this, and we when we do assessment, let's say you come here tomorrow and or in the next the next 1 or 2 months, we would look at this as the challenges that you have gone through. Of course, there are some of you who are in the certain industries, like if you are in the medical industries, you won't be affected much, because this is the industry that has benefited from the MCOs for the past 2 years, because a lot of medical requirement required during the pandemic, and a lot of new requirement by the government. So some of the smaller companies has come up big in terms of their sale in this particular industry. So let's see what does it mean to be an SME actually. This is a classification approved by our national SME board. Basically, you need to be either one of these. If you are doing manufacturing, your size will be a maximum of 50 million in terms of sale. Minimum is 300,000. And if you are in services, your maximum sale will be no more than 20 million. So on top of this, we are also looking at the numbers of staff that you have, and in any of these, you should not have the number of staff is more than 100. So then, as long as you are in this category of SME classification, then you are classified as SME. But there are certain SMEs, even though you are within this range of category, but if you are owned by a state government or you are owned by a listed company, then automatically you are not an SME anymore, because you are now considered as graduated from being an SME. So because your holding company, listed co, has open access to the capital market. Okay, generally these are the type of financing that we have. Two, working capital, which is the normal trading requirement that you need in terms of buying and selling. Then the other part of it is the asset financing, where this is the part where if you want to go into automation, you want to go to what you call apply a robot into your automation, or all this will become under asset financing. Basically, at the moment, single customer limit will be at 50 million, and group basis we are capped at 140 million. Why is it so low? The question being asked to me so many times. Bear in mind, as far as the bank is concerned, as far as the government is concerned, with limited funding, we want to give as many SMEs as possible. So that's why we kept the limit quite low. Plus, single limit is 50 million. Of course, there are companies that we give more than 50 million as per requirement basis. But I can tell you the number of companies that receive more than 50 million is less than 10 out of 8,000 customers that we have. So the profit rate is ranging from 3.5 to our BFR plus 2. Our BFR now is 6.2. And our financing tenor maximum at the moment is 20 years, depending on what kind of financing you are applying or you are requiring. Okay, let's talk about this, the first of three facilities or assistance from the government, which is targeted for automation. Mr. Yu just now in his slide did talk about the 3Ds, the dirty, dangerous, and difficult sectors. And this Permekasa matching grant is dedicated for these industries. Of course, for you to qualify for this financing, you need to be an SME. Although under just now I mentioned, if you are owned by public listed company, you are automatically not an SME. But in this case, it is given a leeway as long as the ownership of public listed company in your company does not exceed 20%. Then another key area will be the Sharia compliant business. Of course, this is part and parcel of our requirement from the ministry. Dirty, dangerous, and difficult, it is not actually an industry which is difficult to find. Sometimes One simple area of 3D is recycling and RE industry. This RE industry has been cropping up in the last 2-3 years, and big part of it is through recycling of waste. So this is part and parcel of the 3D industry. Only before this, we did not know that these are also categorized as dirty and dangerous or even difficult. So under the Permakasa matching grant, or I will call it just a PMG, the quantum will be only up to 1 million. The profit rate will be between 4 to 5%, and the tenure for this is up to 10 years of financing, and the 1 million the 1 million financing, the grant that will be given is up to 20%, maximum of 200,000. So let's say you qualified for 1 million financing for your machine or even your automation project. Then let's say you are qualified for 1 million. Out of 1 million, the 800,000 will be in form of financing, and then the 200,000 in form of grant given by the government. So this is number one option. Number two is high-tech facility. This is a fund that is mooted by Bank Negara. The only difference here is that when you want to where we want to consider for this financing, your project, your company would have to be assessed through Bank Negara checklist, and they will assess whether your company or your project qualify under this what we call financing. It doesn't take long. Usually, once we receive your financing request, then first we will verify that there is a requirement for you under this high-tech facility. Then we will share your details with Bank Negara. They will revert within, I think, 1 week to say that yes, you qualified or not qualified for this type of financing. For this high-tech facility, the quantum is maximum of 5 million per SME on aggregate basis, and you have the option of requesting out of the 5 million, requesting of 1 million maximum of working capital. Just now, the Permakasa matching grant is all for capex, but for the high-tech facility, you have the option to request for working capital up to maximum 1 million, and the total maximum financing under this high-tech facility is 5 million. The rate here is depending on whether you are taking guarantee or not. Without guarantee is 3.5. With guarantee built-in will be 5%. Under this high-tech facility, the total financing is 7 years, shorter than PMG, about 3 years. The rationale is that most of the capex that is going to be financed under this high-tech will be machineries, automation part, and equipment, which if we finance more than 7 years, it may become obsolete. So at least it will set a trigger for SMEs or even the bank. So maybe in the 5th or 6th year, maybe we want to go for upgrade or refurbish or even change the whole machinery altogether. So this is the second. Number one is PMG. Number two is high-tech facility. Then let's say I submitted your application to Bank Negara. Bank Negara say it is okay as part of automation, but in terms of industry, maybe you are not qualified for this Bank Negara, what you call HTF high-tech facility. Not to worry, we have another one. This is our own. SME Technology Transformation Fund. The quantum under this one is up to 3 million. The profit rate is up to 4%. And the tenure under this is 10 years. So if you are not what you call qualified under ATF, then we usually most of the time you can go under the SATF to finance whatever requirement for your automation, even for your robotic requirements. Just want to share here, for the last 1 year, even though we have a pandemic, we have MCOs, we have issues, but the number of companies that have come on board and embrace automation under Permekasa matching grant, we have given out to 28 companies a total funding of 23 million. Under high-tech facilities, 10 companies totaling about 29 million. And our own STTF, SME Technology Transformation Fund, we have funded 142 customers with a total financing of 170 million. So from this, of course, it is not easy for you to what you call to embrace and to move from whatever you are doing now. You don't have any automation or even robotic requirement at the moment. Then there is always a way to embrace what you call IoT, IT, in terms of advancement, in terms of the, we are looking at things from the point of view of what you call productivity. As long as there is an element of increase in productivity, an element of increase in efficiency from what you're doing now, then it is considered as with some tools that you can bring in machine, equipment, some sort, and of course, if you can embrace the robots that are being what you call shared by Mr. Yu just now, then it's even better because at the moment, robot will be at the height, meaning at the height of the what you call the IR 4.0, because IR 4.0 industry revolution 4.0 started in 2015, and we are now in 2022, and the take-up rate, I can assure you, among SMEs is still low. But then there are numbers of SMEs that has jumped into the bandwagon, embrace IoT, embrace automation, and they have seen the result. Can I stop for a while? Okay, let's continue. This is a slide of what are the other program other than the 3 program that I mentioned just now, which are specifically tailored for automation, for you to invest in capex, machineries, all those things that you want to increase your productivity. Those are the 3. We have also a lot of the program which are listed here. I won't run or explain one by one, but if you see the title hot working capital for BAP, DRF, but DRF is only left for a few days. If you are affected by the recent what do you call flood, then you can go for this DRF. And still ongoing, the TRRF still ongoing. We still have quite a number of funds to be given out under the bank, the government relief funds. So later when my email is shared, then you can contact me for if you want to know about all these what do you call program that we have run by SME Bank. Okay, let me just run through this document. These are the pain. The word is PIA, pain in the ass. We always ask a lot of document. Always. I've been a banker for 28 years and never failed to ask all these things from my client. Why? Why it is important for a company, Sdn Bhd, be it sole proprietorship, to have at least 3 things: audited account, management account, and the other one is the company bank statement. These are mandatory in terms of requirement. If you go to any bank, if you to start financing application, because these are the minimal record that you have. What we have done in the past 6 months, the past 1 year, these are the record that show us what you have been doing. So then you ask me, then a lot of SMEs are asking me, then if you are looking at good numbers, if the bank are looking at nice bank statement, then no point of you coming to the bank and borrow. But that is not what we want. What we want is the discipline of our SMEs in terms of record keeping. This is already in 2022, and there are still SMEs that tell us, I do things by cash, which is very difficult to swallow. Very difficult to swallow. The list that you have is account statement that show the transaction of you doing your business. So this is the list. All other statutory document like your SSM form, your license, SSM business certificate, those are all like your IC. You should have it in your drawer. You can just give it to any bankers that want to see that. But the 3 things that I mentioned just now are the key, what you call, statement that you need to produce, and to then the bank can really gauge how to help you out. If you do not have this, then quite difficult. The challenges is that, yes, then you will say bank ask 1,001 question, 1,001 document. I am just asking for financing of 100,000. I think that beside the point. To me, For you to tell somebody that want to invest money into your company, you should be able to tell whoever, whether a bank, whether a friend, or whether it is an investor, that you are in control of what you are doing. So these are some of the documents that what you call will tell the third party what really happened and how you have been doing in the past and how you are in control of what you are doing. So basically, this is the end of my sharing. If you need any clarification on financing, on how to what you call run a cash flow, I can help you out. But then do get in touch when Marisa share my email later. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Have a good day and have a productive day ahead. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Azhar, for the fantastic presentation. I think we're all very, very excited to continue being in touch with you. Those of you who are interested to get in touch with Encik Azhar, the Regional Director of SME Bank, please screenshot this or his email details and contacts will also be made available in the chat box. So please go right ahead and save that. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we've just had such amazing panelists that have been sharing with us. So I think without further ado, let's really get to the question and answer, because I think we saw a lot of great questions come through. All right. So without waiting any longer, let's get some of the Q&A going. So we're going to start from question 1. I hope some of you who asked this question earlier, you're still here. So maybe I'll just close this screen so that we can just get Mr. Yu, have you coming back as well? Because I think we're going to have 2 different sides to these questions. So the first question from Regina Lewis, and I think this is for Mr. Yu. If I want to convince our management on obtaining robotics technology, what key areas can I highlight other than ROI and labor saving? Is robotics considered part of green technology?
All right, thank you, Regina. I guess in the slide just now, I stressed about not just ROI. So I think it's really hit to the point of these questions. Apart from ROI, what else we need to look at? Of course, first of all, if your project can help to reduce risky work, right? To improve worker health ergonomically, to reduce insurance claims safer, that is another thing that you can look into it. Another thing is hiring. 3D job, very difficult. I keep on need to hire new staff. Turnover is high. That is the second point I shared just now. You may also help to, adopt robots so that you can reduce this redundant job, repeating job or hirings. Productivity gains improve because of quality bit consistent with robot and humans. Reductions in waste because of the doing less reject than humans. So those are areas more than ROI. Of course, there'll be more, but of course, a few important areas that I highlighted just now. About the green, I won't say it's green, but it definitely is lesser power consumption than industrial. One cobot, it can consume maybe 250 watts only, lesser than your 1 horsepower air conditioning at home. So it's actually quite efficient. Okay, but it's not green, but it's quite efficient, and it won't increase a lot of your electricity by using collaborative robot. Industrial different. Industrial, you need 3 phases, electric power supplies. If you are doing welding, definitely that's consume a lot of electricity. So those are the difference between the collaborative and industrial.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I answer to the point of the first questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Regina. I hope that answered your question. I suppose there are a lot of direct and indirect benefits. Depends on how far you want to calculate the returns. Yeah. The second question from Regina, another question is, how good is the infrastructure and supporting ecosystem for companies in adopting robots? And I think you touched on this, but you can elaborate a bit more, such as servicing the robots, repairs, parts, maintenance, right? So, Mr. Yu?
Very good questions. I guess Regina already is in the midst of exploring and want to venture? Because all those questions normally is a very good question that raised to us when they want to start something, because they want to clear the doubt. Management throw them all these questions, they need to answer so that they can buy, to approve, get the management to approve the project. Okay, facilities or infra or changes in your production line. If you talk about industrial robot a lot, okay, you need to free the space, you need to have a three-phase power supply, you need to have pneumatics, you need to have a lot of things. There is no doubt. That's why we can see adoption also lesser. But collective robot, nothing much. Okay, you just need a small space. It can be floor mounted on the table, on the wall, or even to the ceiling. So efficient. Okay, so that is actually flexibility of collective robot, because it just like 10 to 15 kilos. That's why, I mean, on that areas, it helps us a lot to implement. Infra-wise, if you use a pneumatic grippers, you need to have airline, maybe with some good filter, that's all. If you use electric grippers, actually, you can move away with pneumatic line. So, and you need one single phase, 240, all right, very simple power supply instead of 3 phase, those are things that you need to supply. That's why it's much more easier to go with collaborative robots. Infra-wise, maybe you can have a simple pneumatic system over there, space, as I mentioned just now. Yep, those are things. And of course, spare parts maintenance, basically, it have less maintenance than industrial, because industrial work very fast. Then you need to have actually higher maintenance, and accuracy need to be there. You need to do a lot of collaborations. Collaborative wise, it has slower speeds. And then the good part, some robot, right? Some collaborative robot, they come with, let's say you have 6 axes or 7 axes, but the joint is common. It have like 2 joints only. So if you keep 1 or 2 joints, it can just change over all the joints. So it means that you can lesser parts that you need to keep at your warehouse. And of course, your local teams that keep the stock, they will be better. So that is a few things that you talk about maintenance, and lesser maintenance for collaborative robot, no greasing, nothing. Basically, for first year, nothing, maybe just some calibrations or some tunings. And maybe 3 years to the 5th year, maybe you need to check on your joint. Maybe some will need to replace, maybe 5 years to 10 years, depend how heavy you use it. If you use, let's say the payload is 6 kilo, you use for, let's say 3 kilos, lesser weight than the maximum limit, it can prolong your lifespan. So that's how normally we will check. Maximum 70%, don't go higher for that, so to prolong the life. So basically, that's why collaborative robot more affordable and less maintenance, less component you need to store.
Right.
That is some sweet spot of collaborative robot.
Right. And I like how you approach this is, you're not just telling everybody to go right into the industrial robots and then they cost so much more money, but to go into the cobot, it's actually an opportunity for us to test our systems. So to start small, I hope that's very useful for you, Regina. Very good. So Regina will be in touch with you. Definitely getting some expert advice at this point, doing a risk assessment will be very useful. Fantastic. Let me go to, we have more questions coming in. So TS Chin, I hope you're still around. To Mr. Yu as well. Any example of collaborative robot as improvement in 3D operations in the manufacturing environment? Okay, so this question.
All right, 3D definitely not only in manufacturing, of course. Normally we see agriculture, construction are more related to 3D. For manufacturing, we've been already deployed a collaborative robot for spraying. You know that spraying is really hazardous. All right, so last time I remember the operator need to drink the meals daily or maybe a few times in a week, send for safety health inspections because of the chemicals that they inhale every day. So those are areas that we see, if let's say you are longer ROI, but it helps to reduce the risk, is a go. So then of course, some already deploy a collaborative robot with the AGV, not AGV, it's AMR, so that it can move around the collaborative robots to do toilet cleanings, dirty things, pick up rubbish with visions. In agriculture, MMR plus collaborative robot to pick up the fruits or to check the healthiness of your these crops. There are many things that we can deploy. And of course, dangerous in manufacturing. Let's say you have actually die casting so hot. If you stay there 40 degrees, you'll be sweating, and a lot of people will reluctant, the young generation reluctant to work in those type of area. So the robot itself is IP54, it's actually quite okay, and can stand up to 50 degrees. So if your environment is 40 degrees and below, it's hot for human 26 degrees, 31, 32 is quite hot. we can deploy colleague robot if let's say your environment is 38 and above. So it's very good and very nice. So those are areas that you can see how we can suggest a good adoption of collaborative robot. Some are example. Yep.
Certainly. And I think, Mr. Yu, what you're talking about here is also very relevant in the potential ESG compliance that is needed for a lot of businesses and SMEs, environmental, social, and governance. I think one of the things on on social is the work environment, right? And when you talk about the place being very hot and then it's not suitable for long periods of time, we're exposed to fumes. These are all things that will go against the ESG compliance as well. Yeah. So
Correct.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so maybe I can add one more point on OSHA, right? I think health safety will
Yes,
help.
OSHA.
Noisy area like stampings, those are areas that we will deploy collaborative robot because it is actually hazardous, dirty, hazardous, hot. So that is another area that you can explore.
Okay. Okay, we have to be more concise because I think we have a lot of questions. So
Correct.
let's go to the next one. Thank you very much, actually, Mr. Yu. Very good questions and very good answers. Nicole, any special knowledge required to operate the robot? And question 5 by Go Kian Hui, what is the maximum robot lifespan? How about maintenance and service? I think we covered that.
Covered already, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe any special knowledge to operate robots?
Okay, industrial, yes, you need a team, you need programmers. Collaborative is good because you can just hold it and teach it and record it, the move, and it can run. So you just need a computer knowledge, a bit of computer knowledge, and a bit of simple programming. Maybe you have pneumatic line, a bit of technicians, engineering knowledge, that would be good enough.
Okay. All right. And you can also suggest some of the reskilling programs for us to train our talent as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you suggest that. What is the maximum robot lifespan?
Lifespan, so far it can go up to 10s, but time to time definitely depends. Sometimes you need to start to change a joint in 5 years and above. But definitely after you change, it can work again, and all the part can be replaced. So as long as you can replace it, it can work forever.
Sure. Fantastic. The next 2 questions are for Encik Azhar. Is SME Bank providing financing to non-SME companies, Encik Azhar?
Straightforward answer will be no.
Okay.
But then we do give to large SME, but if you are large SME, you won't qualify for government assistance. So whatever rate offered to you will be on commercial basis.
I see. Okay, understood. And Verleen asked this question around SME banks loans. Can we get 20% grant from the government and 80% bank loan with interest and 20% grant? So I'm not sure. Maybe you want to elaborate on this.
I think this one, Verleen is referring to the Permakasan matching grant just now.
That's right.
The 1 million limit. So from the 1 million limit, 800,000 will be from financing.
Okay.
At a rate of 4 to 5%, and the balance of 200,000 will be a grant, which is
okay.
Free.
Fantastic.
Free.
Sorry, what did you say?
If it is grant and it's free.
Okay, that's we all love free. Okay, that's a magic word there. Okay, so I hope that I hope that helped you, Verleen. Yeah, so please get in touch with Encik Azhar. His email addresses is within the chat. The next question is from Muhammad Noor Sulaiman. I hope you're still here. Is the collaborative robot using PC controller? Is there any license that we need to pay every year? Oh, yes.
It depends. Yes or no. It depends on the brand. Some brand do, some brand no. So that's why you choose a correct robot, mean you can get free.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. We certainly need to talk to you more on choosing the right robots and whether the licensing needs to be paid. Yeah. All right. Very good. We have gotten to the end. Walter is asking any link for attendant. Not sure what that means. A link. Any link for attendant? Okay, for attending. Okay, no worries. If you can help me to clarify that, that would be great. Otherwise, we are going to get to the end of today. So guys, just peel in as we conclude today's session. I think first and foremost, everybody, we're very happy that you've asked so many questions. It just shows to us, Mr. Yu and Encik Azhar, that I think our SMEs are in a place that they are exploring robotics. So I think we're all just very happy to see that. And under one webinar, we already have so much of resources, first knowledge, insights, and again, funding opportunities. So we have a great deal of thanks to the both of you. Thank you for doing that. We also should know that MPC, Malaysia Productivity Corporation, under the Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus, in collaboration with MEIF, Machinery and Engineering Industries Federation, runs these business advisory clinics. And I want to encourage all of you here, if you are already getting some support from Mr. Yu, you're going to reach out to Encik Azhar, both amazing panelists here. You want to also not miss out this opportunity to consult with the government authorities around your business. Now, I want to say this, many of our Samantha members, and we're also virtual advisors for this program, but many of our Samantha members, some of us are in this room right now, has gone through this process and has been mind blown. So if I can, this advisory clinic actually addresses, there are advisors and experts in each of these areas. If you can see my cursor, business development and operations, technology and digitalization, HR, human resources and leadership, people management, supply chain management, marketing and branding, and definitely government assistance and regulation, where we can smoothen your process of getting support from the government authorities, be it whether we're working with MDEC, be it whether we're working with MATRADE. Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, is a government agency that facilitates that. So when you come into this clinic, you might want to get into conversations where you can explore more cross-border trade or get more support in terms of not just incentives, but grants and financing to connect you with the right people. So this is a must not miss. So a lot of Samantha members have got in here. Please don't lose out. Scan this QR code and save the link and register later. All right. I'm sure later on inside the thank you emails, you'll get this as well, but please don't miss out. All right. Just want to leave us with this last bit here before I just get our panelists to say a few words as we end off today. But guys, we appreciate your feedback. You can request for your e-certificate from A. Rahman. Please screenshot this, arahman@mpc.gov.my, and you can get an e-certificate sent right to you. And please complete the feedback forms so that we know how to support you better. So at the end of the day, like I've shared, all of these are about support for the SMEs. So we want to be able to continue doing that. So we love to hear from you. Okay. So without further ado, I'm just going to stop share. Okay. And I'm just going to go around to the panelists, beginning with Mr. Yu and then Encik Azhar. Last words for everybody before we call it a day. Mr. Yu, you first.
Stay safe and go for decisions.
Yeah, just go for it. Sweet, short and sweet. Encik Azhar, yourself.
Yeah, same here. Go for it. Financing will be advice to you through me. Hopefully, stay safe, and we'll see you again next time.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, you both. Everybody join me to say a wonderful round of appreciation for both our awesome speakers, Mr. Yu and Encik Azhar, and definitely great thanks to MEPN. We're signing out. Please stay tuned for more series. My name is Marissa. We're from Samantha Central. We hope to bring more community engagement activities like this as well to you. So signing out, everybody. Thank you very much. We hope you